We have a big update here on the future of the Xbox hardware. So obviously one of the biggest questions here is the future of the Xbox hardware, not whether there will be hardware, because there will be some form of Xbox hardware, whether that is via Xbox themselves making their first party manufactured at-home console and handheld, or whether we're going to be getting partner devices like we've already seen leaked with the Asus ROG Ally, specifically with the Asus ROG Xbox is what I'm calling it now, which is their handheld version with an Xbox button on it. It's going to be a complete integration into the Xbox ecosystem, and it also has some big handle controllers on the side if that's going to be the end consumer version of it. But there are still questions. There are still questions as to exactly what is Xbox going to bring. Is it going to be a traditional style of release going into the next generation? And then will there be consoles beyond that? My first thought is next gen is probably the last generation for hardware, just in terms of the way that the industry is going. It may not just be Xbox, but I think for Xbox specifically. But I'm hoping that they do some cool stuff going into this 10th generation. And one of my biggest hopes has been an Xbox handheld that they make themselves, not because I care about the hardware side of things, but because I feel like that would be the way that they are going to implement the Xbox operating system, which would be some custom OS that isn't a Windows 11 style of gaming PC that we have currently right now with the Xbox app, and you have just that overlay, but something that's going to allow you to get access to your console games, your PC games, and everything in between all in one place. Right now, you can't do that on Windows 11 PCs. You have different versions of these games, and there's still a lot of people who have Xbox console games that they've purchased years ago that are locked on the console. If they can get that to other devices, that will be a massive win. And I'm really hoping they continue down that road. But as of right now, there is a big report that is going around. The Xbox handheld itself that they're making in-house has been sidelined in replace to focus more on the Windows 11 PC gaming handhelds and optimization around that. This comes via Windows Central here, and it says exclusive Xbox's handheld has been sidelined for now as Microsoft doubles down on Windows 11 PC gaming handheld optimization. And specifically, I mean, they go through a bunch of stuff here. A lot of people, I think, read this headline only, knee-jerk reacted thinking that this means that this handheld is just completely done and they're not working on it at all anymore, but that's not actually what it says here. If you do read through the article, we'll go through it here. First of all, one of the things that is updated here is they say previously this article noted Pembroke as the code name for the handheld, but that we've received clarification that this code name might be incorrect. Stay tuned for an update on that part. And the rest of the report remains unchanged. So specifically it says, I come to you today with some fresh news about Xbox's handheld plans. Previously, I reported that Microsoft was working on a native Xbox handheld alongside the Xbox Series X successor, planned to launch around 2027. It now seems that Microsoft's priorities have shifted somewhat. Microsoft still, this is the key thing, want to build their own Xbox handheld in the future, but Microsoft has decided to prioritize its teams to improve Windows 11 gaming performance, specifically for devices like the Asus partner device, Project Kennen. And they say here that it's possible that the existential threat from SteamOS, which on paper delivers better gaming performance than Windows 11 itself, has informed these decisions. Now, there is something interesting when it comes to SteamOS. I made 2 videos talking about this. The first video I made was going over the whole thing that came out from Dave2D, where he was showing the difference in the battery life of SteamOS with the Lenovo Legion Go S versus the Windows 11 version of it, playing Dead Cells, a relatively light 2D Metroidvania game that shouldn't be too hard on the system. It should give you decent battery life. SteamOS was giving 6 hours of battery life. Windows 11 was giving 3 hours of battery life, which is kind of absurd for a game like that. And a lot of people thought that this was Windows bloat and that this was just simply the fact that SteamOS was doing something much better. And then you had the Fox TV on YouTube come out and show that this was just simply bad optimization on the manufacturer's part by changing the power draw, the wattage from 15 watts for Dead Cells down to 6 watts. You got the same amount of battery life. So that's basically what it was. But the issue there is a lot of people just when they pick up a gaming handle, they don't want to play games. They don't want to have to tinker with this stuff. And that's where I think Windows 11 PC gaming on these handhelds needs major improvements, where you're launching into it and it feels more like a console, and you're going to get the best optimization and performance out of it right out of the box. And maybe that's what they're looking at here in terms of making sure that the Windows 11 gaming PCs don't have issues like that in the future. The other thing here is SteamOS is very, very good. And they're now going to partner devices. They're going on the Lenovo devices, and they've actually opened up SteamOS where you can just download it and put it on different things. And I'm sure we're going to see more Steam partner handhelds in the future from other manufacturers. So they're getting ahead of Xbox in terms of what they want to do. And Windows 11 itself is being outperformed by it in a lot of people's eyes. They need to get ahead of that, or they're going to lose a lot of market share, I think, in the PC handheld gaming space, and it will be very, very hard to catch up. So maybe that's what's going through their minds here. It does kind of seem like that, but the reality of the situation is I was kind of right in my first video. They hadn't shown anything about the Xbox OS. I thought that they needed to show something and get this announced sooner rather than later. And now I know why they hadn't shown anything, because they are putting it on the back burner right now and focusing on something else. Kind of what I was thinking. And here it is confirmed in this article. Also goes here and says, our sources have indicated to us that Microsoft is still deeply investing in developing its own Xbox gaming handheld technology in the future. But it was announced internally today the priorities are moving more deeply towards third-party OEM handhelds in the interim. And Project Cannon is the code name of Microsoft's partner Xbox handheld with Asus. And they say here, we understand that Cannon is targeting a launch for later this year. The hardware side is essentially finished, but there's a significant effort between Xbox and Windows teams to improve the experience on the software side. And devices like the Asus ROG Ally and Lenovo Legion Go already run on regular Windows 11, and the Xbox layers and apps have improved, but there's still a lot of improvements to be made. So they're just trying to get this Asus ROG Ally in the best place possible before they launch it. So they're taking the resources away from, I guess, the first party Xbox handheld and putting it towards that. Reality is, all that matters here is the software, the Xbox operating system, and what they do with that. If they just focus on that, they release that, and you can actually download that and put it onto different PC handhelds, that would be more than enough. I think it's kind of a waste of time if Xbox were to make their own handheld from Microsoft just to have the Xbox logo on it and then just run Windows 11 and have another PC gaming handle. I think that would be an absolute waste of time. So hopefully they aren't doing that going forward into the future. If they do end up making their own, they actually are going to be making their own Xbox operating system, as it indicates here in this article. They do continue to say here that it's always been a bit unclear if Microsoft's handheld was designed to be a native Windows 11 PC gaming style handheld or more of a native Xbox console style experience, but we potentially now have the answer. It seems that it was indeed meant to be a device that could run full Xbox games. That is the key here. So that's the one on the back burner. But Microsoft has decided to prioritize its teams on the partner opportunity around devices like Cannon, at least for now. So that is what I would be waiting for. More importantly, I'm waiting for the software of it. The hardware side, the actual thing in your hand, it's going to be the same as any other PC gaming handheld out there. It's going to be running similar internals. It's just going to have a Microsoft logo on it, but it's the Xbox OS that is the key thing when it does come to this. They also say here, which is pretty interesting, that they're working on next-gen Xbox cloud systems, which are now testing on Microsoft's HQ in Redmond, and the new cloud platform should bring its latency closer to parity with NVIDIA GeForce's Now service, and arguably which is the performance leader right now in cloud gaming. So when it comes to the handheld, that's where it is. We're not going to see a first party one from Xbox themselves with a custom Xbox OS here for, I think, a number of years. It may be 2027 when they do announce something else, some other piece of hardware out there. Now, with all of that being said, now this calls into question, what is the future of the at-home console? Is that still going to be in development? Is that still coming out? Last we heard, it is. And when we heard from Sarah Bond at the business update a couple of years ago, that is going to be the biggest technical leap. That will be something as well that's very interesting. In my mind, the handheld's going to be far more important next generation than the actual at-home console. So you would think that would be the priority. But as of right now, it looks like they are just going to be focusing on making sure that their partner devices are up to speed. So we will see what happens here. It's a ever changing thing right now when it does come to the Xbox hardware. This is going to put a lot more doubt, I think, into people's minds as to whether they're actually going to end up making that first party device, that first party handheld, or if they're actually going to end up making a first party console. I would love to see something here on June 8th for Xbox to clarify this even more. Not that they haven't been pretty clear that they are still making hardware, but it would just be great to see kind of a concept as to what the future is from their first party manufacturing perspective of these devices, and just to see how close they are to getting that full integration between console and PC where you get to access your entire catalog of games. Because that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. Can you get that access to your console games and your PC games in one place in a handheld? That would be perfect. You could even think maybe they'll just make a Switch style of console going forward. That would have probably been just as good as doing these two separate devices that they are ending up doing. I think people just really want that full access to their catalog. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.